Good evening, friends. Myself R.K. Singh, and you can say that of physics expert. Now we shall come on our topic of SHM, already discussed before 2 previous days. Today we shall discuss it qualitatively as well as quantitatively, some terminologies as well as applications. Yesterday we had discussed free oscillator in one dimension, and as such you can take it practically a spring placed on a frictionless table and whose one end is attached to a rigid wall and the free end is attached to a mass m, and force constant of the spring equals to K. Same system is here discussed yesterday theoretically. Suppose the oscillating object is on O and it is displaced to a distance x, then a restoring force acts on this object that equals to minus kx, where k is said to be the force constant, and this force is called force of restitution. Force of restitution in the sense that this force always wants to keep the oscillating body into its initial position. Yesterday, so many results were discussed: kinetic energy, potential energy, and total energy. And we also observed solving one-dimensional differential equation of the second order, that the displacement of this object oscillating freely under this force of restitution will be given by x is equal to a cos omega t minus delta, या plus delta or minus delta, insignificant, irrelevant to the sign. You can also write it as a sine function, and also I had introduced yesterday that all motions which are represented in the combination of sine and cosine functions are called harmonics. So what it is, why this motion is called simple harmonic motion. Now yesterday we were on the result that kinetic energy of freely we will discuss it in detail also whenever a dissipative or damping force is acting on this object. Now here it is freely oscillating oscillating object as Ek equals to 1 upon 2 m omega naught square a square sine square omega naught t minus delta. That was the expression. Also potential energy we observed solving the above equation. Ep equals to 0 to x minus kx dot minus dx, and this is equal to 1 upon 2 kx square, and this came out to be 1 upon 2 m omega naught square a square cos square omega naught t minus delta. That's all. Now total energy we also found. Total energy of the oscillating object under the influence of this force equals to E, and that equals to Ek plus Ep, and this came out to be 1 upon 2 m omega naught square a square. I had also told yesterday that this total energy remains constant throughout the motion under this force, and I set this force to be conservative. This equals to constant, and the above force in one dimension since it is only acting on a line. So in one dimension F equals to minus kx, a conservative force. I hope that all of yours will be familiar that terminology conservative force. If not, then in very brief I explain it. If under any force total mechanical energy remains always constant, or the work done by this force around any closed path equals to 0, or if force can be represented as a derivative of space function of a certain energy, then we say that this force is conservative. We will, if you do not know, then I will discuss in detail in the coming chapters. Here, for the sake of convenience and for as to remind the concept of conservative force, I introduced it, that force in one dimension here under impact of which the body is oscillating, and that is denoted by F equals to minus kx, and that is a conservative force. So here we observe that the total energy of this object, this particle, oscillating particle, is always constant because mass is constant quantity, omega naught called angular frequency is also constant, and A here is amplitude already constant, because maximum amplitude is nothing but the maximum displacement of the oscillating body. Now I am going to represent these energy function on a graph. How it will be represented? I show it as follows. Suppose this is the x axis, it is origin, and this is the energy function. You can say, since total energy is the maximum, and that maximum value is this. So here E maximum or E naught equals to 1 upon 2 m omega naught square A square, or since E P is equal to 1 upon 2 kx square, it is a parabolic equation. It is the equation of parabola. So potential energy can be represented as this, and its maximum value is also this potential energy. And here this can be represented E k is equal to 1 upon 2 m omega naught square A square sine square omega naught t minus delta, and that can be represented 1 upon 2 k under root A square minus x square. A square minus x square, we can represent it. So this comes out to be this much. This is the parabola whose origin shift to this, because it has been written as Ek is equal to 1 upon 2, or here you can derive it mathematically, 1 upon 2 m omega naught square A square 1 minus cos square omega naught t minus delta, and from this when we put it we get as Ek equals to 1 upon 2 k A square minus x square. So this is the kinetic energy and this is the potential energy. Here we observe that the potential energy on the origin is 0 and kinetic energy has the maximum value, and that comes out to be total energy. And here on amplitude x equals to a, kinetic energy comes out to be 0 and potential energy has the maximum value, and that comes out to be this much. This is a simple representation of potential and kinetic energy of the oscillating body in an oscillator, simple SHM motion. I will also discuss some examples of this type of oscillator. It's very simple and very general equation. We discussed yesterday that m d2x upon dt2 plus kx equals to 0 and r d2x upon dt2 plus k by mx equals to 0 or d2x upon dt2 plus omega naught square x equals to 0, where omega naught square equals to k by m, omega naught called angular frequency, so and so. This SHM free oscillating body is a very simple in seeing, but its application has a variety of situations. We will discuss laterally in quantum mechanics as well as other problems, that this application of this harmonic oscillator is very important. This equation is very important in itself. Now we take some example of this of daily life, how it works. For example, I take a simple pendulum oscillation. I am sure that each one of you knows about a pendulum, in which a simple pendulum is nothing but a bob, a rigid bob hanging through a string from a wall, and it when we displace, its mass is m. When we displace infinitesimally small displacement, so that it can be considered to be the linear one, x from this original position, here is its weight working towards the center of the earth, on this position through a small angle theta. So I know that this angle always be theta. If we resolve this gravitational weight in two directions, then we see that it has two components. One is mg cos theta and second is mg sin theta. This much. We see that this is the tension in the string, and T minus, because there is no motion along this line, so T minus mg cos theta equals to 0, and there is only motion along this x axis to and fro. Above is here, now it comes on here. If air resistance is considered to be 0, so the amplitude of the bob or oscillating nature of the bob will not diminish out infinitely, because there is no force, dissipating force acting on this bob. I have theoretically we presume as such to derive the motion, equation of motion. Now here displacement is x and force of restitution, here we denote that force of restitution acting on the bob of pendulum equals to mg sin theta, and its direction is always opposite to the displacement. So equation of motion of this bob can be written as ma equals to minus mg sin of theta. A equals to acceleration of the bob, and this is equal to d2x upon dt2. We write it as m d2x upon dt2 equals to minus mg sin of theta. Now solving this, we get as d2x upon dt2 equals to minus g sin theta, and for theta to be small, we can write as sin theta equivalence to theta is equal to x upon L. This will be arc and this is the radius, so we can write it as minus g x upon L. So equation of motion comes out to be d2x upon dt2 plus g upon L x equals to 0. Now when we compare from the general equation d2x upon dt2 plus omega naught square x equals to 0, then we get comparing above with, then omega naught square equals to g upon L, and this implies omega naught equals to under root g upon L, or 2 pi by t equals to under root g by L, because omega naught equals to 2 pi by t. As I have already told to all of yours yesterday that omega naught by 2 pi by omega naught is the time period after which oscillating body repeats its motion. So it comes out to be period of oscillation of the bob equals to t, and this is equal to 2 pi under root L upon g. So this is, as you know, very simple equation already done in previous classes. This is derived as such. Now again a simple problem of oscillating circuit. I am sure that all of yours will be very familiar with this problem. All of you know that whenever an inductor is connected with a capacitor, charged capacitor, then there is oscillation of charge, in the sense that charging and discharging of capacitor always goes up and down through time. Now how it happens, just I introduce it today as such. Suppose this is a inductor and this is a capacitor. I am sure that all of yours are well familiar with the phenomenology of capacitance and phenomenology of inductance. Here inductor is L and here is a charged capacitor. I also here rigidly say that there is no resistance in the inductor. That is, the current energy loss is negligible or zero. There is no energy loss through inductor because it is a pure inductor having resistance 0. If it had a resistance, then clearly there is a energy loss, there would be energy loss, and during charging and discharging of the capacitor, after certain cycles, the circuit comes out to be in rest. There would not be any flow of charge and there would not be the phenomenology of charging and discharging of the capacitor. Here I have, you all of yours already know that if any current is flown through a conductor initially, then there is an induced EMF. When current is built up in a conductor, that is, current goes from its value 0 up to a certain maximum value. During this time, due to current variation, there is a development of there is a magnetic field due to current, and magnetic field increases with increase of the current, and a changing magnetic field, you already know, that develops an induced EMF. So there is an induced EMF in this inductor which opposes the flow of the current through from capacitor through inductor. Today I heard this lecture on this topic. Is tomorrow I will discuss in detail how it works and how goes oscillation in this circuit. Actually, the time period of oscillation comes out to be t is equal to 2 pi under root LC, or frequency f is equal to 1 upon 2 pi under root LC. I will discuss in detail tomorrow. Now, thank you for attending my class. Any confusion, you can ask any question on my site.